Pitch Perfect 3. Somewhere off the coast of France, the Bellas are performing Toxic on a yacht for 3 men. When they finish, Fat Amy, Rebel Wilson, crashes through the ceiling and sprays the men with a fire extinguisher just as there is an explosion. The Bellas promptly jump ship. 3 weeks earlier, John Michael Higgins, and Gail, Elizabeth Banks, are following Bika, Anna Kendrick, as part of a documentary on the Bellas that they are making snarky comments as always. Bika currently works as a music producer for dim-witted rapper Pimp Low, Moises Arias. Bika submits his track with her singing backup vocals, but Pimp Low and Bika's boss want the song with just his lyrics. Bika gets annoyed at their lack of cooperation and support, so she quits. Bika goes back to the room she shares with Fat Amy to tell her that she quit, though Amy thinks she just got fired. We learn that Bika broke up with Jesse because they couldn't handle the long distance, and Fat Amy also broke up with Bumper. Chloe, Brittany Snow, enters to tell her friends about a Bella's reunion performance that is later that night. The ladies meet up with the rest of their Bella sisters Aubrey, Anna Camp, Cynthia Rose, Esther Dean, Stacy, Alexis Knapp, Lily, Hana Hailee, Flo, Chrissy Fit, Jessica, Kelly Jekyll, and Ashley, Shelley Rayner. Emily, Hailee Steinfeld, comes over with her group of singers, which leads to the awkward realization that Emily had only invited the Bellas to watch her and her group perform, not to sing along as well. The Bellas watch with disappointment for themselves. After the performance, the Bellas gather to drink at the bar, where Chloe breaks down, saying she would give anything to perform with her friends again. Aubrey then mentions that there is a USO performance tour that her dad can get them in, and if they are good enough, they get to open for DJ Khaled. The Bellas all agree to go, except for Stacy, as she is 8 months pregnant, but doesn't know who the father is. The Bellas pack their bags and meet up with 2 soldiers, Chicago, Matt Lanter, and Zeke, Troy Ian Hall, who escort them into the hangar to meet the other performers, which include a DJ duo, one of whom shares an attraction with Lily, a country music band, and the girl group of Ermost, led by Calamity, Ruby Rose. The latter mock the Bellas, which leads the Bellas to initiate a riff-off. The other groups get into it, but they use instruments. Even some of the soldiers get in on it. The Bellas leave when they realize they can't keep up with the instruments. The Bellas arrive in Spain. Upon arriving at the hotel, Chloe starts to chat with Chicago, whom she is infatuated with. Later that night, all the groups are set for their first major performance. Bika meets Theo, Guy Burnett, who works with DJ Khaled. When the Bellas are up to perform, they sing Cheap Thrills, but are interrupted when Taps plays over the loudspeaker, embarrassing them. After the show, Emily comes in to encourage the Bellas to not feel sorry for themselves and to go out for the night. They go to a hotel for a party. They spot Theo and follow him to try and find DJ Khaled. Meanwhile, Fat Amy has found a stuffed bunny on her bed, which she recognizes from her childhood. At the casino, she runs into her father, Fergus John Lithgow. However, Fat Amy is unhappy to see him because he is a criminal and has always been in and out of her life when it was convenient for him. Bika finds Theo, and he takes her to a recording booth where she starts to play around with the equipment and record some sounds. Theo appears to be interested in what he's heard. Outside, Aubrey learns that her father isn't going to make it to the show. Without noticing, she leans on a candle stand and knocks it over, setting curtains on fire. In the ensuing chaos, a tank full of bees is broken, leading to the swarm spreading around the room. The next morning, the Bellas are outside their hotel, humiliated from the night before. They get a video call from Stacy, who tells the ladies that she gave birth to a baby girl and that she named her Bella. This encourages the Bellas to stop trying to win and just to perform for the hell of it. The Bellas continue to perform together and enjoy themselves. Outside the shows, Fergus tries to get into Fat Amy's good graces once more, but she realizes he hasn't been watching her performances. He just wants access to an offshore account that Fat Amy's mother set up, which contains $180 million. After threatening her for it, Chicago and Zeke show up to escort Fat Amy back to her room. Theo finds Bika and brings her to meet DJ Khaled. They listen to what Bika recorded, and they were impressed. Khaled offers Bika the chance to open for him, but only her. Bika is conflicted because she doesn't want to disappoint the others. The rest of the Bellas are hanging out on the streets when they are approached by a French man saying Chicago sent him to escort them to another venue. The Bellas follow him, but are unknowingly abducted and taken onto Fergus's yacht. He calls Fat Amy to demand that she give up access to her account or he will hurt the Bellas, starting with Jessica and Ashley, only because Fat Amy cares less about them than the others. Bika shows up at Fat Amy's room just as they learn what's going on. Bika and Fat Amy sneak onto the yacht. Bika makes her way to the other Bellas, while Fat Amy beats the crap out of Fergus's guards. Bika buys them time by having them perform Toxic. After Fat Amy takes out all the goons, she finds hidden explosives and stuffs them into a toaster while turning on the gas from a stove. She crashes through the ceiling to let the Bellas escape just as the explosion occurs. Bika and Fat Amy jump off the ship and Amy lands hard on a canoe. The authorities then show up to arrest Fergus and his goons. As the Bellas recover, Bika admits, or rather, Fat Amy blurts out, that DJ Khaled picked her to open for him and that she would give it up if it meant she couldn't perform with the Bellas. The others think she is crazy and encourage her to go for it. They all talk about what they plan to do after they go back home. Aubrey is content to give up singing so she can become a birthing coach. Cynthia Rose wants to join the military so she can eventually become a pilot. Flo just secured capital to franchise her juice truck. Lily now speaks at a normal volume and says her real name is Esther. Fat Amy plans to recover the money from her account to perform acts as Fat Amy Winehouse, or also Fat Amy Adams and Fat Amy Grant. Chloe also just got into vet school. Emily wants to continue her studies, but also continue to write music. Bika decides to take the spot to perform. She starts to sing Freedom and eventually gets the other Bellas to join her. The whole crowd loves the performance, and even the ladies of Evermoist appear to enjoy it. The Bellas receive one final standing ovation. Elsewhere, John and Gail are also impressed, and Gail tells John she hopes he recorded all of that. And then he realizes he never turned the camera on. During the credits, Aubrey's father joins her after watching the performance. Lily goes off with the DJ she flirted with earlier. Chloe and Chicago hook up. John and Gail appear to give into a mutual attraction to each other, but they laugh it off. Finally, we see what footage they got from their documentary, which shows the Bellas from the start of their journey to the very end.